You see, as a man, you have to understand the art of speaking so that people can listen to you. People have to listen to you. A lot of you guys, you speak and nobody really knows who you are. Nobody cares about what you have to say. And you wonder why you don't get your way in life. You wonder why you can't build an audience. You wonder why you can't develop influence. You can't get the power that you want. You don't have the status that you want. And it's because you have to learn the art of speaking. So what I did, I actually started documenting a lot of the different things that I do. And by the way, this is something that I teach in my mentorship to the guys who want to be able to level up and become the best version of themselves, become multidimensional, kind of like how I did. But I'm going to give you all of these steps that I wrote down and kind of break down why they're important and how you can utilize it for yourself. So, if you see me looking at my phone, it's because I want to make sure that I'm on track with that, because I really want to be able to educate you guys on how this stuff is actually done. So you have to understand that, especially when it comes to business, social circles, one-on-one, like your words hold weight, right? And they command attention and they command respect. And it's not just about your body. That's step one. But if your words don't match the way that your body looks, it's basically pointless. So to be able to leverage your physique, to be able to leverage your presence, you have to understand how to communicate effectively. And the first thing you have to understand, because I want you to fix this problem, so that way you don't sound like you're just background noise. Because a lot of you, when I get on calls with you guys sometimes, I always look and I'm like, your communication skills are just so off. Like, if you could just fix that one aspect of your skill stack, you would be able to make far more money and you'd be able to get a lot bigger of an audience and people would actually listen to you a lot more, right? So here are the steps that you need to do to be able to make sure that you can master speaking so you never have this issue again. All right. So the first step is that you need to speak slower than you think you actually should. Now, if you've ever watched my video, I changed the speed at which I speak consistently. And the reason for this is because I have different points of emphasis that I want to make. But when I really want to make a point, as you know right now, as you're listening to right now, I will slow down and not rush my speech and make sure that every single word is enunciated, articulated, so that you can understand the impact of what I'm saying. That is why I slow down my speech, because when I slow down my speech and when you start to slow down your speech, you will sound a lot more confident, you will sound a lot more authoritative, and you will be able to articulate your words better. You're not an Atlanta rapper. You're not, right? You're not an Atlanta rapper. You're a real human being. And as a real human being, that's not just a meme rapper. You need to be able to articulate your words if you want to be taken seriously in this world, right? So slow down, let your words land how they need to land, and pause if you need to, so that way you don't use a lot of filler words, right? The second thing is going to be cut the excess, and you have to be as precise as humanly possible, right? You have to be extremely precise with your speech. And so you have to eliminate a lot of the ums, the likes, the uhs, like, I do that as well. And I still do that if I want to sound conversational. But when you're actually talking to somebody, you're presenting something, or you're in a professional conversation, not just a casual conversation, right? You using those words will ruin your authority either way, whether you believe it or not. You using those words will make people not believe that you're serious. And I see a lot of young guys doing this because they don't really necessarily know what they're saying, or they don't really know how to piece together their thoughts into an articulate piece of phrase that people can understand, internalize, and it becomes powerful to them, right? So you have to be able to do that. So instead of saying, like, for example, I think we should, you need to say, we will, right? Or if you want to say, oh, maybe we could, you could say, no, the move is this. You have to be extremely certain, and you have to be very precise with everything that you say, because if you sound uncertain, nobody's going to listen to you. Nobody's going to take you seriously. You're not going to seem like somebody who is articulate, somebody who's intelligent, somebody who actually knows what he's saying. And as a man, you have to be able to do this. The most powerful men in the world know how to speak, besides Elon Musk. I get it. Elon Musk doesn't know how to speak. You're not Elon Musk. You might not ever be Elon Musk. I don't want to shit on your dreams, but it's just not a thing, right? So the third thing, you have to control your tone, right? You have to keep your voice grounded. You don't need to be sounding unsure with everything that you say. You don't need to be sounding like you're high pitched all of the time, or you're constantly just like not understanding what's going on, and you have to raise your pitch because you're very nervous with what you're saying. Your voice needs to be grounded. I have a very deep voice, and the reason I have a deep voice is because I'm extremely calm. unless I purposely put myself in a position where I want to be antsy and I want to be animated for the sake of entertainment, which I do on YouTube at times because I want to be able to capture different parts of emotion, which is another thing you have to understand. Your tone can help people mirror the emotions that you want out of them. So you have to understand that grounding your tone and sounding certain is very important, right? If you speak very softly, you have to be able to have some volume control and maybe even raise your voice a little bit if you need to have more authority. But either way, you cannot be mumbling. You need to project your words at people. You are talking at people. You're not talking just so people can kind of hear you and you're kind of passive. You need to be more than just passive. And a lot of people cannot do this. And I see a lot of gaps in people's speech because of this, right? This is what's going to help you get socially jacked, because a lot of men are not socially jacked because they cannot speak correctly. If you want to be multidimensionally jacked, you have to be able to do this, right? Now, the fourth thing is mastering eye contact. See, it took me a long time to understand this in communication. And even when I speak on YouTube, the reason why I look away the way that I look away sometimes is because I want this to be not as intensive of a conversation. This isn't a motivational conversation. This is a casual conversation where there's a lot of information that you can digest. So by me looking away makes it seem casual. It doesn't seem as intense, because sometimes the message that I want to drive is not going to be as intense. I'm not looking to motivate you right now. I'm looking to educate you. Right? I'm looking for you to sit side by side with me here and listen to what I have to say so that you can internalize it, so that you can actually do this for yourself. And every time you break eye contact, if you want to make an authoritative point, it diminishes all of the power of your speech that you have. And a lot of people don't understand this. A lot of people, when they speak and they're uncertain or they're scared, they look down or they look to the side and their eyes start fidgeting. And people cannot take you seriously if you're not looking them directly in the eye when you want to make a point. When you don't want to make a point, you don't necessarily need to constantly look at people in the eye. Right? You can look away a little bit. If you're talking to a woman, you don't need to be staring her deep in her eyes all the time. But when you're going to make a point, when you're going to give her a direction that you want, whether it's you want her to come back with you or you want to set up a new date with her, something along those lines, you want to be able to look her deep in her eyes and keep the eye contact and never break that. Make her be the first person that breaks eye contact. Same when you get on sales calls, same when you get on anything. When you want to make your point, when you want to make a declarative statement, you look directly in the eyes of the person and you do not look away until you've made your point clear. That's going to be very important for you to understand when it comes to communication, when it comes to eye contact, because these different body language ideas and tactics are what's going to set you apart with the speech that you have. So you have to make sure that you are giving people eye contact the way that they need to have the eye contact, right? And now number 5, you need to pause for emphasis, right? So the right pause in any statement makes people lean in if you have the pause correctly. So when you start to say something, people are going to lean in a lot more. You see what I did there? I paused before I went to my next point because I wanted you to lean in and listen. I wanted you to lean in and listen. That's repetition, right? If you want to be able to emphasize your point. But you have to be able to pause for emphasis because that's going to give you a lot more variety in your speech. If you don't pause in your speech, nobody's going to listen to you because you're just going to sound like you're rambling and mumbling. And if you're just constantly talking and you're never really pausing and you're constantly just saying whatever it is that you want to say because you think that that's the right thing to do and nobody's going to see the way that I did that, I didn't pause at all. So it didn't give you time to really digest what I was saying and really believe that I have another very powerful point coming. And a lot of you just ramble and talk, and maybe you're afraid to speak to that person that you're talking to. I get on calls with a lot of guys and they get kind of starstruck. I don't know why. I'm not even that big, but they get starstruck and they just start rambling, right? Then I can hear their speech. They're just rambling. And they lose the power that they could potentially have because they're not able to conduct themselves in a way where they're respectable. Right? And so when I speak, I'm very confident and I'm really sure in what I have to say. And the way that you become confident in your speech is by being competent, knowing what it is that you're saying. Right? So the more that you pause, you can allow your mind to think and you can come up with a cohesive statement that's going to hit home for the other person that you're speaking to. Right? So that's very, very important. Now, number 6, you need to speak like a man who gets what he wants. This is very important. You need to have the confidence. You need to have the oomph, like, I get what I want. Your voice should literally carry the weight of certainty, right? So even if you don't know everything, just sound like you do. I know it sounds kind of like, okay, well, I'm faking it. But the reality is you have to sound like you know what you're talking about, or just don't talk about it at all, if anything, right? Because when you sound like you have certainty, you get more respect. Indecisiveness causes a lack of respect. It kills the respect that you have. So you have to make your words match your intent. Everything that you have to say, you have to make sure that the words that you're communicating to another person are matched with the intent that you want them to have. You have to sound like the man who gets everything he wants. You have to be extremely confident in what you say. You have to literally get exactly what you want out of that. It's verbal warfare. Whether you believe it or not, every time you have a conversation with somebody that's important, it is verbal warfare. It is a frame battle. Whoever dictates the frame wins the conversation. This is why I enjoy communication so much, because to me, it seems like it's almost like a war. It's a battle, and I'm very war-minded. I like watching war movies. I like looking at life as war. I like reading books about war, right? I read a lot of books like that. So understanding that this is verbal warfare allows for you to use these different things that I'm saying as kind of like your artillery to be able to dominate social conversations and social interactions, and you become the man that everybody wants to know. And so once you master all of these things, you'll notice the shift. You'll notice people will listen to you more. You'll notice that they'll respect your presence, right? Presence is very important. And you'll actually have a lot of impact, right? You won't just talk, you'll make people listen. And so I end all of these points to tell you that as a man, you have to be multidimensionally jacked. If you've been watching this channel, you know my concept of being multidimensionally jacked. That's physically jacked, mentally jacked, financially jacked, socially jacked, and spiritually jacked. We just talked about the socially jacked side of things. And this is where a lot of men, they don't necessarily take it seriously because it doesn't seem like it has tangible results, because you don't necessarily have the awareness to see how other people are perceiving you. And that's very important, to see how other people are perceiving you. Because once you can see that, you can start to solve these different issues, these different aspects of your life that are lacking. You can become a multidimensionally jacked man. You can do whatever you want. You can make the money that you want. You can get the girl that you really, really want. You can have a better connection with God. You can do a lot of things, right? You can be a leader of men. But until then, you become a follower. Until you've mastered all of these 5 pillars, you become a follower. And it's very important for you to actually start to win in this life, because if you don't win in this life, it's going to be extremely hard for you. If you can't master these different things that I'm telling you, I'm coming and telling you this not just because I want to create content and build an audience and things like that, but it's really because I genuinely care about the men in this world. And I noticed that there are all of these little things that I was fortunate enough to learn when I was younger, mostly because I was very intuitive and I had a lot of awareness because I was an only child. And it allowed for me to be able to dominate in different areas of life, which seems effortless, but it took a ton of effort. And if you're watching this right now, you should probably watch this again, take some notes, and really, really internalize this and start to put this into practice. Because the more that you put this into practice, the more that things are going to change for you. The more that you're going to become a better man. The more that you're going to have the confidence to be able to pitch your idea, pitch your service, pitch your product, whatever it is, to be able to make money. The more that you'll be able to talk to any woman that comes your way, because you understand and have the awareness of how to impact people through your words. Super, super important. Super, super valuable. And if you need more help on this, I'm telling you, DM me on Instagram. I'm opening up a private mentorship for guys who are interested in just improving every area of their life when it comes to the 5 pillars, right? But mostly, for the most part, I'm calling it the New Breed Accelerator. It's going to be my life's work. It's going to be a decade's worth of work for me. And I'm starting out with the first 5 guys that want to really take their life to the next level. Obviously, you have to have potential. You have to have something going for you right now. You can't be down in the dirt. I don't want to help helpless people. I want to help hopeful people who have already made some progress in their life and want to accelerate that progress, because those are the people who are going to get the results that I know I can give. So if that's you, go ahead and DM me on Instagram. Talk to me about your situation. We'll get on a call and see if it makes sense to work together. And I think it's time to really level up your life as a man. If you're watching this, if you watch this all the way through, you have the potential, because you have the attention span. You actually have the attention span to be able to make this a reality. You're not fried in terms of your dopamine receptors. you're good. So go ahead and make this a reality. I hope this video is valuable to you. Stay multidimensionally jacked, become the new breed of the modern man in this modern world, and dominate the game. I appreciate you, and I'll catch you on the next video.